Have you ever felt like your dreams have been shattered? Like everything you worked for is now in pieces? You put in the effort. You believed it would happen. But in the end, nothing came together the way you expected. And now, it feels like those dreams are just reminders of failure. But here's something I want you to hear. Your broken dreams still matter to God. They're not forgotten or wasted. In fact, God has a bigger plan for them, one that you might not see yet. Stick around, because I'm about to show you why your broken dreams are far more important than you think, and how God can take those broken pieces and create something beautiful. We all have dreams, visions of what our lives could be, what we could achieve, and the legacy we hope to leave behind. Whether it's building a successful career, having a family, traveling the world, or simply finding happiness, these dreams become a part of who we are. They push us forward, fuel our passions, and give us a sense of purpose. But what happens when those dreams don't come true? When the doors we thought were open get slammed shut, or the path we thought was clear turns into a dead end? It's easy to feel like we've failed, that our hopes were in vain, or that maybe we weren't meant to achieve what we dreamed of. The pain of broken dreams is real. It can make us question everything: our worth, our choices, and even our faith. We wonder, why did God allow this? Why did He let me get so far, only to have it fall apart? But here's the truth. God doesn't just care about the dreams we have. He cares about the process, the growth, and the lessons we learn along the way. Those broken dreams, they matter to God more than you know. In this video, we're going to dive into the heart of why your broken dreams still matter to God. You might be sitting there thinking your dreams are just a distant memory, something that's never going to come to fruition. But what if I told you that God is still working in your life through those broken dreams? What if those dreams aren't dead? They're just being reworked in a way you can't yet see. By the end of this video, you'll understand why God's plan is so much bigger than your vision, and why those broken dreams could be the stepping stones to something greater. Dreams are more than just desires for the future. They are the hopes and passions that shape the direction of our lives. When we set goals and aim high, we pour our energy, time, and often our heart into making those dreams come true. They define what we think is possible, and they give us the motivation to keep pushing forward, even when the road gets tough. But what happens when those dreams get shattered? When everything you've worked for comes crashing down, and you're left standing in the rubble, wondering if it was all for nothing. First, it's important to acknowledge that having broken dreams isn't a sign of failure. It's a natural part of life. We all experience disappointments, setbacks, and losses. But what separates us in those moments is how we choose to see the brokenness. When we look at our shattered dreams, we might feel abandoned or discouraged. But God sees something different. God doesn't waste pain or brokenness. In fact, He uses it for good. This is a powerful truth that often gets overlooked when we're in the midst of our struggles. God's perspective is different from ours. Where we see failure, He sees opportunity for growth, healing, and a deeper relationship with Him. Look at the Bible. So many stories of great leaders and heroes of faith were built on the foundation of broken dreams. Take Joseph, for example. His dreams as a young boy were clear. He saw himself as a leader, someone with influence and power. But his journey was anything but easy. Betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and thrown into prison. It seemed like Joseph's dreams were completely shattered. Yet, Every step of Joseph's journey was part of God's bigger plan. What looked like failure to Joseph was actually God's way of preparing him for the great purpose he had for him in Egypt. Joseph's dreams didn't die. They were just delayed. And in that delay, Joseph was transformed into the leader God knew he could be. God does this in our lives too. Just because our dreams don't unfold the way we envisioned doesn't mean they don't matter. In fact, it could be that God is reworking our dreams into something even better, something more aligned with His purpose for us. It's not that our original dreams were wrong. It's that sometimes we need a shift in perspective, a deeper understanding of what really matters. The brokenness we experience in our dreams doesn't disqualify us. It qualifies us to see God's hand at work in a way we couldn't before. This is where the transformation begins. When we trust God with our broken dreams, we allow Him to breathe new life into them. The pain we feel from disappointment becomes the soil in which new hope and purpose can grow. And while we might not always understand the why behind the brokenness, we can trust that God's plans for us are always good. He sees the end result, the person we're becoming through the process, and He knows what's best for us, even when we can't see it. So, how do we begin to shift our perspective? How do we start seeing broken dreams not as a failure, but as an invitation to trust God more deeply? It starts with surrender. When we let go of the need to control how our dreams should unfold and trust that God has something greater in mind, that's when we start to see His plan take shape. It's not always easy, but it's necessary. When we hold on too tightly to our vision of the future, we miss the opportunity to see what God has in store. Trusting Him with our broken dreams allows us to open ourselves to a new future, one that we may not have imagined, but one that will bring us more joy, peace, and fulfillment than we ever thought possible. When your dreams feel broken, it's natural to question why it's happening. You've invested time, energy, and maybe even a piece of your soul into what you believed was meant for you, and then it all falls apart. It's easy to feel like your dreams didn't matter, that maybe you didn't deserve to have them in the first place. But here's the truth. Broken dreams often point to something much deeper than disappointment. They reveal the spaces in our lives where God wants to work. And sometimes, those broken pieces are actually the beginning of something more beautiful than we could have imagined. One of the most difficult parts of experiencing broken dreams is the emotional weight they carry. The grief of losing something you thought would bring you fulfillment can leave you feeling empty. It can make you question your worth, your abilities, and even your faith. And while it's perfectly normal to mourn these losses, it's also essential to understand that God isn't finished with you just because things didn't go according to your plan. He uses these very moments of brokenness to shape you, to teach you, and to draw you closer to Him. This is where trust becomes critical. Trusting God when things don't go the way we expected is a challenge, but it's also where the deepest growth happens. Think about Abraham. God promised him that he would be the father of many nations. Yet Abraham had to wait decades for that promise to be fulfilled. Along the way, he faced many disappointments, and his faith was tested repeatedly. But through those trials, Abraham's trust in God deepened, and he saw God's faithfulness in ways he couldn't have before. His broken dreams, those years of waiting, questioning, and longing, became the foundation for a legacy that continues to impact the world today. Similarly, in our own lives, the moments when we feel like we've hit rock bottom are often the moments where God is building something in us that we can't see yet. Trusting Him means surrendering our own timelines, our own ideas of how things should unfold, and allowing Him to take those broken pieces and form something that is ultimately more aligned with His will for us. It means having faith that He sees the bigger picture, and His plan is greater than anything we could have imagined on our own. The pain of broken dreams doesn't mean you're being punished. Instead, it can be God's way of redirecting you, teaching you resilience, and developing your character. The process may be painful, but it's also transformative. As you go through this, you learn to rely more on God and less on your own ability to control the outcome. This shift in perspective is often where healing begins. As you let go of your old dreams and embrace what God is creating in you now, you open yourself to new possibilities that you couldn't see before. So, what do you do when your dreams are broken? You grieve, you process, and you trust. You trust that God is still working in your life, that He has not abandoned you, and that He has a purpose in the pain. You lean into your relationship with Him, knowing that He is always near, even when it feels like everything is falling apart. In doing so, you give Him space to turn your brokenness into beauty, your loss into something greater. This isn't an easy process, and it doesn't happen overnight. But as you walk through the season of broken dreams, remember that God isn't done with you. The dreams you thought were lost are being reworked into something that aligns with His perfect will for your life. Trust that He will make something beautiful out of your pain, and allow Him to guide you into a future that is far beyond what you could have planned on your own. As you begin to accept that your broken dreams still matter to God, the next challenge is learning how to move forward when you can't see the end result. It's one thing to acknowledge that God has a plan, but it's another thing entirely to trust in that plan when you're stuck in the middle of the unknown, when everything you hoped for feels out of reach. How do you keep going? How do you keep moving forward when your heart is heavy with disappointment? One of the most difficult things to do in these moments is to surrender your own desires and expectations. We all have a picture of how we want our lives to unfold, and when that picture is shattered, it's easy to become disillusioned. But surrender is not about giving up. It's about giving control to God. It's saying, God, I don't understand why this happened, but I trust that you are still in control, and I believe you have something better in store for me. Surrendering your dreams means acknowledging that your understanding of what's best for you might not be as clear as God's, and that His plan, while different, is better. This process of letting go can be incredibly freeing. It takes the pressure off of us to have everything figured out and allows God to take the reins of our lives. It opens the door for Him to do what He does best: work all things together for our good. Surrender doesn't mean that you stop caring about your dreams or that you give up on hope. It means you allow God to do the heavy lifting. You let go of your need to control the outcome and trust that He knows the best path for you, even when it's not the one you envisioned. Another part of moving forward is embracing the growth that comes through the brokenness. When our dreams are shattered, we are often forced to face areas of our lives that we would otherwise avoid. Maybe it's our pride, our insecurity, or our fear of failure. When things don't go according to plan, these emotions often rise to the surface. But in facing them, we give God the chance to heal and strengthen us in ways we didn't expect. Growth isn't always comfortable, but it's always worthwhile. The pain of disappointment can lead to new levels of character, faith, and resilience. The trials we face shape us into stronger, more compassionate people. And the lessons we learn in these difficult seasons are what prepare us for the next phase of our journey. But growth isn't just about facing your struggles. It's also about learning to see things from God's perspective. The Bible tells us that His ways are higher than our ways, and that He works all things together for our good. Even though we may not understand why certain things happen, we can trust that God has a purpose in it all. The key is to shift your focus from the disappointment of lost dreams to the hope of future promises. God doesn't waste our pain. He uses it to shape us, refine us, and prepare us for something greater. When we shift our perspective and focus on the bigger picture, we can begin to see the value in the brokenness and trust that God is working in ways we can't always see. Finally, moving forward involves taking action. It's easy to stay stuck in the past, dwelling on what could have been. But God calls us to move forward in faith. Even when your dreams are broken, He still has a purpose for your life. Your journey isn't over. It's just beginning in a new direction. The pain and loss you feel now are not the end of the story. They are part of the process of transformation. Embrace the new opportunities that are ahead, even if they look different from what you expected. Trust that God will guide your steps, and as you take action, He will provide the strength and wisdom you need to walk in the new path He's laid out for you. Moving forward doesn't mean forgetting your dreams. It means trusting that God is using the brokenness to create something better. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. When you trust God with your broken dreams, you open yourself up to a future filled with hope, peace, and fulfillment that you never thought possible. It's in these moments of brokenness that God can do His most beautiful work in you and through you. So, take a deep breath, surrender, and move forward with faith that your best days are still ahead of you. The key moment in this journey of broken dreams is when you come to realize that God is never finished with you, even when it feels like all hope is lost. It's the moment when you stop seeing your pain as the end and start seeing it as the beginning of something new, something greater. When you reach this turning point, you can begin to trust that God is working even when you can't see His plan unfold. This is when your perspective shifts, and the brokenness you've experienced no longer defines you. It becomes the stepping stone to your transformation. This turning point is when you begin to understand that your dreams don't have to look exactly how you imagined them for them to be meaningful in God's eyes. You might still have moments of sadness or confusion, and that's okay. God understands your heartache and isn't asking you to forget your past dreams. He's asking you to trust that His purpose for you is far greater. In fact, some of the dreams that are broken may have been the wrong ones in the first place. God doesn't need us to understand the why behind every disappointment. He asks us to trust that He has a good plan that's far beyond our own understanding. When you realize this, something shifts within you. You start to let go of the bitterness and the weight of unmet expectations. You begin to embrace God's truth over your own limited perspective. And that's when the healing begins. It's not a magical fix. It's a gradual process of trusting, releasing, and allowing God to transform your heart. As you go through this process, you will notice that you no longer see yourself as someone whose dreams were destroyed, but as someone whose life is being rebuilt in ways you never could have imagined. One of the most powerful moments in this transformation comes when you look back at your broken dreams and realize they were never wasted. God doesn't waste anything. He doesn't waste pain, and He doesn't waste disappointment. Everything you've gone through has shaped you into the person you are today, and it's preparing you for the person you're becoming. The hurt you've experienced is the soil in which new dreams will grow. It's the refining fire that purifies your faith, strengthens your character, and builds your trust in God. You might not be able to see the fruits of your labor just yet, but trust me, they are coming. This moment of realization is powerful because it frees you from the heavy burden of disappointment. You no longer feel like a failure or like your life is on pause. You start to move forward with hope, even if it's a little shaky at first. This is the moment when you begin to see that God is building something beautiful with your brokenness. It may not be exactly what you expected, but it's exactly what you need, and it will be better than anything you could have imagined for yourself. The key moment is when you stop waiting for the past to come back and start looking forward to the future God has planned for you. It's the moment when your faith grows deeper, and you begin to realize that God's plans for you are always good, even when they don't look like your original plans. It's when you trust that God can take what is broken and make it whole again, and that nothing is beyond His redemptive power. This turning point is when the seeds of your future are planted, and you can finally begin to walk confidently in the path God has set before you. It's not just about recovering what was lost. It's about embracing the new opportunities that are coming your way, and trusting that they are exactly what you need for the next chapter of your life. As you reflect on the journey from broken dreams to new beginnings, it's important to remember that the process doesn't stop here. Your broken dreams, though painful, are not the end of your story. They are part of the greater narrative that God is writing in your life. Every single experience, every disappointment, setback, and heartache has a place in the story of your redemption. The beauty of this is that God doesn't just restore what's been lost. He uses those broken pieces to create something stronger, something more resilient. God's promise of restoration is not just about putting the broken pieces back together as they were. It's about transforming them into something new, something better, something that reflects His glory. The Bible tells us that God works all things together for our good, even when we can't see how. Our broken dreams may not be the path we envisioned, but they can lead us to a place of deep spiritual growth, greater wisdom, and a more intimate relationship with God. The truth is, you might not immediately see the fruits of your brokenness. There may be days when the pain resurfaces, and you feel like you're back at square one, but don't lose heart. Restoration takes time, and healing doesn't happen in an instant. It's a journey, a beautiful, messy, unpredictable journey. And though the path may not always be clear, know that God is with you every step of the way, guiding you, teaching you, and preparing you for the future He has promised. When you embrace the fact that your broken dreams still matter to God, you open yourself to the possibility of a new season, a season where you are no longer defined by what you've lost, but by what God is creating in you. It's a season where your faith deepens, your vision broadens, and your purpose becomes clearer. The dreams you once held may look different now, but that doesn't mean they're any less important. In fact, they are likely to be even more aligned with God's will for your life. And as you walk forward, you'll see how He has been preparing you for this very moment. The beautiful part of this journey is that God doesn't just restore our dreams. He redeems them. He takes our brokenness, our failures, and our disappointments, and He weaves them into the fabric of His greater purpose for us. What may have once felt like a dead end is now the beginning of something new and beautiful. What you once thought was lost forever can now be transformed into something that reflects His glory and goodness. So as you continue on this journey of restoration, don't forget to celebrate the small victories along the way. Each step you take toward healing, each moment of trust in God's timing, and each glimmer of hope that rises from your brokenness is a victory in itself. You are moving toward a future that is filled with promise, even if it's not the future you once imagined. And with God, that future will be more fulfilling, more powerful, and more meaningful than anything you could have dreamed up on your own. Your broken dreams still matter because they are part of the story God is writing in your life. They are the foundation on which new dreams can be built, dreams that are rooted in God's love, grace, and redemption. And the best part? This is just the beginning. The story isn't over, and your dreams, though they may have been broken, are being transformed into something far greater than you ever imagined. Keep trusting, keep moving forward, and know that God is with you every step of the way. As you move forward from this place of broken dreams and begin to see the restoration that God is bringing into your life, it's crucial to understand that this journey is not just about healing. It's about a deeper trust in God's sovereignty. It's about realizing that even when our dreams are shattered, God remains unshaken. His ability to work all things for good doesn't change based on our circumstances. His plan for our lives continues, even if we can't see it at the moment. And this is the key to moving forward with hope and faith, knowing that the brokenness you feel is not wasted, but is being woven into a masterpiece that is far more beautiful than anything you could have imagined. God's restoration is a process, and it's one that requires patience. You won't always see immediate results or understand every step along the way, but that doesn't mean God is absent. It's often in the waiting that we grow the most. This is when our faith is refined and our character is shaped into the person God intends for us to become. The patience we develop during this time helps us learn to trust God, even when things don't make sense, and it prepares us for the future He's preparing us for. Throughout this journey, remember that your worth is not tied to the success of your dreams. The world often defines success by accomplishments, status, and material achievements. But God sees you differently. Your identity is not found in what you achieve or don't achieve. It's found in your relationship with Him. He loves you for who you are, not for what you've done or what you've lost. His love for you is constant and unwavering. No matter where you are in your journey, or how broken your dreams may seem, as you trust God with the broken pieces of your life, you will begin to see that He is creating something in you that couldn't have been formed any other way. The wisdom you gain from the journey, the strength you build through the struggles, and the grace you receive along the way will equip you for a future that is beyond your imagination. You might not fully understand the plan right now, but trust that God's timing is perfect, and His ways are always higher than ours. The next step in this process is to embrace the new dreams that God is birthing in you, as you surrender the old ones and trust Him with the pieces. He will begin to show you a new vision, one that is aligned with His will and designed to bring you more fulfillment, peace, and purpose than you ever expected. These new dreams won't necessarily be what you had envisioned, but they will be better. They will be more in tune with God's purpose for your life, and they will reflect His goodness, grace, and glory. Moving forward from broken dreams requires courage, faith, and a willingness to let go of what we thought was the best plan. It means stepping into the unknown with confidence that God is guiding your steps and that His plans are always for your good. The road ahead may not always be easy, but with God walking beside you, you can trust that it will lead to a place of peace, fulfillment, and joy that you could never have imagined. Your broken dreams still matter because they are part of the story that God is telling through your life. He is making something beautiful out of the broken pieces, and He is always faithful to fulfill His promises. So, no matter where you are on your journey, keep trusting, keep believing, and know that the best is yet to come. God is still working, and your future is filled with hope. The dreams that once felt lost are now becoming the foundation for something greater, something that will reflect His perfect plan for your life.